Hey y'all, welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. I started this video and then I got a phone call that I was very excited for. So blessings, blessings. and shit, y'all. Spirit always says, "Okay, Mama, you ready for the next?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh, uh-huh." It makes me nervous, if I'm being completely honest, but in like the best way imaginable. So, sorry, I'm like, bring it back down, bring it back down, bring it back down. When I started the video previously, the last video, I was sharing the fact that I had deleted my Instagram for a few days, just a little purge that needed to occur because know your limits, right? Know your limits. When the trauma starts to take hold, there's a balance because we need to be able to absorb. You need to hear the cries. You need to have an awareness. That's vital. That's vital in the process of healing, right? But we can't allow for the experience of trauma to take hold and shut down our nervous system. Basic fundamental facts, right? So I took a few days off. I got back on today and I was just like, oh my God. But there are so many people out there who are speaking up, who are making such amazing points. I tried to share a few of them. Three of them made it on my story, but they didn't make it on my grid, and I was so pissed. But they flag everything these days. So, and the things that I'm actually interested in are the very things that are, you know, questionable. But anyways, I'm gonna delete it again today. I think that I need to lighten my dosage, just because the direction that I'm going, I think, is about to like blast open a whole nother world for me that I have felt called to for a number of years, arguably decades of my life. Just that little girl in the corner crying like, I wish I knew this, I wish I knew this. And it is very true that we are never given more than we can handle. And some of us are able to handle a lot more than others, and that is both our blessing and our curse. But as we move along, each step that we take is training ground for the next step. Each chapter that ends is the beginning of a new one. And it's important that we honor the human experience for what it is, coming in as children, not knowing, going through life, learning and understanding, falling on our faces, doing all these things, and hopefully utilizing those lessons along the way to develop ourselves into the types of elders we seek as children, right? But all of that requires individual accountability, individual calling, individual purpose. And oftentimes people want to drag us in a direction that they think is best because it involves them. Whether you're looking at political parties, whether you're looking at, the world is divided. The world is divided. There's no getting around it. And the world is divided with reason. And until you deal with the reason, you do not deal with the divide. So talking about the divide when you can't address the reason is the utmost of tomfoolery. So, like that being said, thank you for being here. I was called to start with the Archetype Guidebook, Kim Cran's. I've used this deck for years and years and years, and I just haven't used it recently, but Miss Queen was sitting on him the other night, I feel like she somehow vibrated her purrs, vibrated them clean a little bit. We've got the ring, the apocalypse, the forest, and the prayer. And I think when we're looking at a world that is, riddled with apocalyptic vibes, blatant racism, blatant classism. One of the reels, a handicap person, a paraplegic. Apparently, the Energy of Defense just stated that they will no longer be offering assistance to disabled communities, that it is a waste of their money, the very money that they're using to invest in, ICE, in the removal of murals, while they pass child labor laws and reject the reality of rape. There's so much around us that is apocalyptic. The ring is the idea of never ending and never beginning, right? And the fact is that if you are caught in such a reality, your ability to remove yourself from it, I just feel like there's ultimately this idea of like, you can run, but you can't hide. But what demons are you running from? Because I just feel like yeah, I mean, I feel like the conversation concerning Charlie Kirk and the conversation that people want to have as an opportunity to demonstrate their desire for a level of peace, and how insulting that is when they didn't have anything to say against the people who were posting images of themselves, white kids posting images of themselves and calling it the Trayvon meme trend. I mean, like the horrific behavior. Yeah, the one guy was like, but you can't undo, you have a digital footprint of your behavior. You know what I mean? Like you can't take it back. It's already out there. Like this isn't a battle. This is a never-ending war that we are standing in the middle of. And if it's not a never-ending war, then it's a never-ending commitment to fight in it until it has until it has seen its end. The prayer is the idea of manifestation. Manifestation, I think, has become, to a lot of us, a dirty word, because, I mean, the one thing about a lot of spiritual communities, not all spiritual communities, right? This is not an all statement, but it is an observation and a recognition of a large group who very much seek to just like manifest this, but they manifest always on their own behalf, always with their own, to their own selves be true, right? Without any consideration of the effect that, like the causation that occurs with all of that, and it sells people on an idea of instant gratification, and we're fighting something that is so much bigger than an instant gratification, and it's an issue. It's a very big issue, especially when we are facing what we are facing as a society. Because even if you're in another country, even if you don't face the oppressions that we face here, there's an energetic reverberation that flows through, and I don't know, have you ever like gone outside and you sit on the ground and you can feel the pulsation. You can feel like the energy, and within the energy, the emotion and the awareness and the knowledge, and then all, like in all things, you know what I mean? Like just like this, like it's so much bigger, what is being called in terms of purpose than instant gratification, instant manifestation, and the gaslighting of the cries of the earth, the cries of the people, the cries of the injustice. Um, it's difficult. It's a difficult terrain to navigate, because like that's all a very assertive statement, right? And an assertion is taken as a threat, but a threat is empty. Assertion is not. Um, I don't know. I just feel like saying, don't be afraid to assert yourself. Go in the directions. I just feel like walk through the doors that are opening for you. And I don't know, I just feel like practice an awareness of your prayers, right? I mean, that like thoughts and prayers, you know. It's not thoughts and prayers. It's it's boycotting. It's alliance. It's acknowledgement where acknowledgement is due. Um, the force is the idea of entering into terrain that is unknown. Like there are friends and enemies alike, but I feel like also there is this idea of like you will be protected. I feel almost like this committed to the war until the war ends. I almost feel like the war has ended, right? Well, yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, like battles, I think wars, that were really little more than pathetic attempts at power exchange. You know what I mean? But let us laugh in mockery at the defeat of the ones who truly mock the idea of humanity, who mock the idea of protection, who plant fear where, well, yeah, because if Karen can cry really loud and make everybody, pity her, then the people who are actually being hurt, like, oh, were you more concerned with Karen or the oppressed? And that's always very telling of people's character, like just pay attention to people's character, like that's half the battle. And I know my seers can see, we see through you people. You know what I mean? Like you can't hide in the light, and that's hella scary for people who don't embody light, for sure, as it should be, you know, know your enemies. And if your enemies are curious and they want to peek around the corner and see what they see, what they're going to see is the extraction of their darkness. And it's likely that they will flee back into their darkness, but that's where they belong energetically. That is where their energy exists. That is where it feeds itself. That is where it lives. And that is where it shall stay. Because there are new directions. Was that Sherlock Holmes or Watson? A foot? What's a foot? Something's a foot. It's been a while since I love Sherlock Holmes, so good reference. Okay. Court the subconscious. Bring the exile home. Well, yesterday was the idea of like remembering who you are. And I feel like when you remember who you are, all of the reasons that people, like sought to exile you don't really stand to count for anything at all, except for just like bringing an awareness to you concerning who you would work with and who you wouldn't work with and why. You know what I mean? Like little more than just like a review, like a spiritual review. And I feel like there's this idea of like a spiritual review, and well, if you think about it in terms of like imposters, because there's a lot of like imposter-ing going around with the fact that they've removed any type of legal ramifications for people being taken off the streets. There are a lot of people who are taking advantage of that, which is exactly what they wanted, unleash the demons. And I just feel like don't pay attention to the demons. Don't pay attention to like what the world is saying to you. Pay attention to what you feel. Pay attention to your gut. Pay attention to your intuition. Know that when you don't know, Spirit knows. And that everything that you've been manifesting from pure intention has been heard, has been taken into consideration. Not by the ones who wanted to take control of you, but by Spirit. And Spirit is bringing you home. And it's not the home, the haystack home that you could blow over with just a breath, It's the foundation of who you are from where you come. I love that. I love that. Fantastic. Okay. The Page of Cups. Oh, have we gotten her before? I feel like maybe once. She's cute. Ace of Wands. We get her all the time. And the Hanged Man. We get her all the time too. This one's clever because it's just kind of like things are changing. Like the tides are turning. The realities are shifting. Illusion has been destroyed. Can you handle it? And I think that a lot of people can't handle it. A lot of people are incapable of handling it. They are not prepared. They are not strong. They are not pure of heart or integrity or intention. They are, well, I feel like this sorting bin, like you pour in the bin of apples, and then the rotten ones go this way and the not rotten ones go that way. Because if you package rotten fruit with fresh fruit, that'll all be rotten, and I just kind of feel like somehow that's relevant to the idea of capacity. a question of capacity. But again, that's an individual thing, right? It's an individual experience, and it's an individual journey. It's an individual development of skill, technique, understanding, education, you know what I mean? Embodiment, because as we learn, as we grow, we embody more. As we embody more, we become more powerful. The more powerful we are, the bigger the effects we see. The bigger the effects, the more we have to digest, the more we have to digest, the more we have to integrate, the more we integrate, the bigger we come. It's a process, right? It's a journey. And sometimes that process and that journey, right? Well, because people are like, how long does initiation take? And it's like, you don't even qualify for an initiation if your character is rot. So don't even really concern yourself with those types of questions. But, I think for the ones who've been undergoing initiation, like it's been a long process. It's been a process of cleansing character, of dealing with issues of self, of wounds, of taking care of our inner child, of, nourishing the things that were worthy of our nourishment, and trusting in the journey that we've been on. While everybody else screamed about wanting the cheat code, but like there's no cheat code for that. Spirit doesn't play in cheat codes. Demons do for sure, but in exchange. So is it really a cheat code? You just kind of set yourself up for your own demise if you do that, But I feel like those are the apples being sorted out that don't belong. And stepping into a direction that honors what's happening. The Page of Cups and the Ace of Wands. Well, yeah, people who have no sense of honor can't honor anything. You know what I mean? They just create mockery around it and package it as honor, which is funny, but not really. Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands represents urgency rather often than that of putting a new idea or inspiration into action. It is like a spark. You will have to fuel it to keep it alive and decide in which direction you want your energy to go. It is one of those cards that always says yes to a new opportunity. As an ace, it presents itself precisely as something initial that you can seize on the fly. It is not the actual manifestation of your idea. Fire, the guiding element of the suit, inspires and ignites, but it is you who must decide how to control it. Yeah, that does feel like a keep your eye out for opportunity. Opportunity doesn't present itself to everyone in the same way. And well, yeah, I think for me personally, like being on a spiritual journey has presented itself to, thankfully I'm a Pisces rising, so I can poof, but like also as Pisces would be very familiar with, it's not looked very highly upon to be fluid in a society that demands structure. And I think that there is an idea here of honoring a sense of fluidity. Do you have the means to be fluid through the transitions? Page of Cups. It's vital that you have the ability to be fluid through the transitions, because each stop that you make, especially, take like the simplest idea of like jobs, right? Listen, there are the idea of sticking with one job and only doing one thing is such a patriarchal, conservative, you only have dedication if you show dedication to me type of mentality. And it's like, well, what if my dedication is to understanding? What if my dedication is to, like accumulating like the various facets that embody an energy that's so massive that we end up in this open-ended depression, right? Like what she said, open-ended depression. How did we get here? Well, let's talk about it. But if you want to talk about that, you need to be able to be fluid to move through the many variations that present themselves that create the tapestry of what has become. Facts, facts, facts. Love. The Page of Cups has a vivid imagination, and her world is all about emotions. She is one of those people who have a boundless inner world in which they can sometimes get lost. Her forte is certainly not practical matters. She belongs to the realm of those who feel and are moved by intuition and beauty. In her hands is a cup from which darts a fish as alive as his need to explore the spiritual realm. The page has a great aesthetic sense and lets beauty enter her life in many different forms. If you have met her, remember to go toward what you like best, to clarify it well within yourself. This will be your compass, more heart than mind, more feeling than reason. Well, because I think that there is an idea sold to us within the context of structure, if you will, right? That like structure means you're being told what to do. How do you do it? What do you do? Which direction do you go? Da 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 da. If we exist in a world that is a woven tapestry of a faceted multitude of things, like there is that immediate connection of division in terms of, well, if you've got people who are fighting for women, and then they can't fight for their people. If you've got people who are fighting for racism, then the children fall off, right? Like there's an immediate divide with the idea of having a point of focus as individuals. But the beauty of having a point of focus as individuals is that those points of focus can then be woven together in a new tapestry, right? It is not divisive to have your own point of focus. It is in fact beneficial to have your own point of focus. To remove diversity is to destroy humanity. Are you comfortable with that? Are you conscious of what you pray for? I don't think we are always conscious of what we're manifesting, but well, my friend, I love her so much, just so much, and she laughs at me sometimes because she's like, "You always just leave with a blessing." And I'm like, yes, because everyone I love should be blessed. And today she left me with a blessing, and I stopped and I thanked her, like, thank you for your blessing. And one of the things that she always says that I have so much gratitude for is, and also whatever the universe should decide. Because we can dream big dreams, we can have grandiose thoughts, we can, do all of these things in the idea of manifestation. But if we truly seek, to participate in something that is bigger than ourselves, then we must always follow it up with "and also," and trust that when things close, when doors close, when things fall apart, there is that "and also" that the universe has just been sitting on, waiting for you to get to the place where you needed to be strong enough to do what you needed to do next. Two of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Swords. Okay. Five of Swords. Yeah, I mean, well, in terms of being committed to the battle, the wars will end. And first we must face the wars within ourselves. And once we face the wars within ourselves, once we've closed the chapters, once we've locked the doors, burned the bridges, whatever, however that plays itself out for us individually, when we walk through to the other side, I just feel like this. On the other side, it's not more death. Death has come. Death has gone. Death won't be necessary again until the end of the next cycle. We are just beginning the next cycle. We have only just begun. Okay. My phone's about to die. Knight of Pentacles, opportunity, Hanged Man again, seeing things differently. Well, yeah, because sometimes you think to yourself, why didn't I do that before? And I think a lot of times it's because, I don't know, a lack of feeling worthy. You know, people are so ready to tell us all the things that we're not, to keep us from being all the things that we are. But listen, if you're stubborn and you hold on to who you are anyways, who you are is who wins, you know? Truth is stronger than people give it credit for. The railroad forecasts a long journey if near 44, a serious accident if near 29, a robbery. The birds signify dire misfortune and fierce enemies when near, if far away from the person, blah, 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 a chance to avert an evil spell. The lilies forecast a happy life, but family sorrow if surrounded by clouds. Lying above the person signifies virtuous life, but when under indicates immortality. Yeah, well, I mean, that's that death, right? That like walking away from death, things that are no longer necessary, things that we no longer need. You know, like the end has come, but with the end comes the new, and blessings be to that, right? Abandon worry. Yeah, I just feel like fear not. What is it? Fear not, for I am Lord. I have no idea what verse that is, but I do feel like fear not, for Spirit is in control. Fear not, for there is something so much bigger than us, that like we are protected from things that serve as obstacles and distractions, and in fact those things are then honored by Spirit and rewarded in the opening of the new chapters. And blessings be, blessings be. All right, y'all. If this does resonate, please do give me a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me, and I will see y'all again soon. Bye.